Generation warriors, grit and grind. Generation fighters, take the stand. From shore to shore, we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Jersey Shore Podcast. That's S-U-R-E, because we are always sure. Brought to you by the Great America's Pulse Network. We have a special guest that I'll introduce pretty soon. That's been on before. Awesome guy. But I want to get to the breaking news / monologue. I'm going to try to include that and shorten the monologue so we can get to the topics. So, Here's your breaking news. There's a lot of breaking news out there. You can see it going across the bottom. But I'm just going to go with this one because this one I think is pretty important. This afternoon we learned that former special counsel Jack Smith and his Arctic Frost team tracked private phone communications of nearly a dozen Republican senators during the J6 probe, call records, who they dialed, and location data, according to an FBI document described to reporters in a briefing on Capitol Hill. If true, that's not just aggressive, that's a direct hit in the separation of powers and the privacy of lawmakers elected by you. Where were the limits? Who signed the subpoenas, and what were the guardrails that were in place? We'll be demanding answers very soon. And I want to know, you guys, all the listeners out there, you should want to know, because this is really important. I mean, the fact that they're tracking senators' emails and phone calls and all that stuff, that's a huge problem. So for now, we're going to move into our first segment. We're still kind of stuck on this government shutdown. I mean, the government shutdown, that's why I'm naming this first segment, the national shutdown, day 6, who owns it? And it's going back and forth over who owns this is ridiculous. And we all know it's the Democrats own it, and the Republicans are trying to get it back open. They never want to shut it down to begin with. So we'll get into this segment. I want to introduce our special guest. Bring him on, Justin Murphy, former U.S. Senate candidate in New Jersey and future U.S. Senate candidate in New Jersey. How you doing, Justin?
Good evening, Damon. How's everything?
It's good. It's good. I mean, trying to get through all this stuff, all the craziness in this world, in this state. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, every day the news is, there's just something else that hits you. You're like, I can't believe that this just happened again. And
it is. It seems nonstop. The news cycles are, their circuits are overloaded. There seems to be so many stories that you could focus on. And, take your pick. Take your pick.
My circuits are overloaded. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, between work and side work and the kids and the games and and then the podcast and radio, I'm definitely overloaded. But still got to keep on going.
We all live busy lives, that's for sure.
Yeah,
for certain.
So I wanted, before we get started the segment, Justin, I want to play one of these clips by, and I say this sarcastically again, our favorite Congressman Donald Norcross. So let's play this clip.
Hi, Congressman Don Norcross here. Day 6. America held hostage by this Republican shutdown. It's bad enough that the services from the federal government that we're coming accustomed to, Social Security, Veterans Health, things like that, are shut down. Unfortunately, almost 750,000 of those government workers are furloughed. But now our president, Donald Trump, wants to fire them. They're calling it RIF, reduction in force. He wants to fire them. Never in the history of our country has a president went out and tried to fire all the government employees. Tell them to get back to the table. Come to a bipartisan solution to save health care.
Democrats shut the government down. Up in here, up in here.
Democrats want health care for illegals.
Like if Jose crossed the border and Jose got measles.
Here's an illegal immigrant affordable health care act.
For your aches and pains, put some ice on that. Americans should get health care first. Up in here, up in here.
So we had to play it again. We played it on the last show because we thought it was funny. We found it funny meme.
I'm glad there's some comedy injected in all this.
Yeah, we got to have something. The Democrats, they don't find anything funny at all. But it's just everything's so serious and everything's the end of the world and all that stuff. But Donald Norcross saying he's been doing a daily video like that, day 1, day 2, day 3, and I tell everyone all the time, and I even comment on his post. Like, tell the truth. 53 Republicans out there that wanted to keep the government open and voting to get it back open. We need 7 Democrats, and that's what we need. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, on the shutdown, I mean, Damon, we've had many shutdowns before, going back to the 1980s. They tend to not last very long. Yeah. Usually within a week or two, there's some resolution. This one is a little different because it's really accentuating the Democrats' commitment to illegal aliens. When they talk about health care, they're not talking about health care for you and me or your family, Damon. They're talking about health care for illegal immigrants. Medicaid is full of providing services to households headed by an illegal immigrant. That's from the Center for Immigration Studies. It just that you see where their concern and priority is. Now, you'll notice when they don't say, "Oh, we want health care for illegal immigrants." They say, "We want health care," intentionally cutting off the second part of their sentence and clause. And they are at the plate for the illegal immigrant, not the American taxpayer. And that's what is a little different about this shutdown, because if the American people come to see this is the reason why we have a shutdown, I think it would bode very poorly for Democrats politically if they are viewed as the party that's willing to shut the government down because they can't get health care services delivered to illegal immigrants. And so I think that's what the accentuation is here, is that it really shows where they are and whose side they're on. They're on the side of the criminal. They're on the side of the illegal immigrant. They're on the side of the open borders crowd. And I mean, as far as shutting this down, it becomes a political duel to an extent, because if it goes on too long, the American people will turn on both parties and say, you're both bickering and somebody's got to get this resolved. So I think right now, short term, if Republicans can win the battle of messaging, which they don't tend to do too well on too many times, but if they can frame this, that Democrats will not join us, and all Republicans wanted was status quo. So I don't know what the Dems are upset about. This was a status quo matter on the Republican side. So they get to say, listen, Democrats are shutting us down because they cannot get health care to illegal immigrants. We don't think your tax-paying dollars should fund health care for illegal immigrants. And if that becomes the battle line in this shutdown, I think Republicans walk away clear winners and Democrats are going to take a few bruises.
Absolutely. Because I'll tell you one thing, me personally, we talked about it earlier, going to work every day. I've been working side work too. And I've been doing a lot of different things. We all do a lot of things. You before you came on, you said you had some work that you were getting done. We work a lot. We work for to pay for our bills, pay for our families, pay for whatever it may be, pay for our own health care. And I'll be goddamn if they're going to take my money, reach into my pocket, and say, I'm going to give it to somebody that broke into our country and broke the law, coming into our country, and just says they deserve it. Well, what about me? If I didn't work, I wouldn't have it. But illegals can have it. Like,
how many kids do you have, Damon?
I have 2.
Okay, that's your priority in life. Your and your wife's priority is providing for your children. But yeah. Democrats, they're just not worried about that. They're more worried about the illegals.
Again, because for a vote, and that's what it is. It's all about the votes. It's all about the power. That's why Chuck Schumer shut the government down, because he is so past the point of no return with his far left, Democrat base that's taken over the Democrat Party. And he's afraid that AOC is going to primary him, and he's afraid to lose to her. So he got shellacked last time he voted to keep the government open by his far left Democrat base. And now he's doing it to save his own skin, just for votes, get elected so it doesn't get primaried. So he could give give a damn about the American people, who he's supposed to represent, who he was elected to represent and take care of. He's a public servant, but he shut it down. The Democrats shut it down, and there's hands down. There's no question about it. Any news media that questions it, or somebody like Donald Norcross saying the Republicans need to come to the table, Trump needs to come to the table, as his dentures are almost falling out of his mouth as he's saying it.
Donald Norcross, in that clip that you ran, Damon, he mentioned that Social Security will be shut down. There's no such thing is happening. Social Security checks will continue to be sent out. Essential personnel will continue to function and operate. Air traffic controllers will still be on the job. When we talk about government shutdown, we really don't shut down. You know what shuts down? Our national parks. Go to see the Liberty Bell, maybe Yellowstone. Some of our national parks have to close. This massive government grinds to a halt where Social Security checks don't go out and our military doesn't get paid. No, it's just complete. And he knows that. He's been in Congress long enough.
Because it's BS. That's what it is. It's just propaganda. That's all he's putting out there. He's just putting it out there to scare
simply
people.
Not factual. It's simply not factual. Believe me, folks, we have enough government in this country to last us for a long time. It could use a diet. It needs to go on a diet. And the shutdowns that we experience periodically, they're very short-lived, and they're partial shutdowns at best. And it really affects national parks. Sometimes they have to close. But Social Security checks will still go out. There's just there's just no threat to that. That's a typical drum that they beat, and it's a lie, is what it is. And they're not mistaken. They know Social Security checks will still be mailed or still transfer electronically through the banking system. Doesn't even have to go through the U.S. Post Office in most cases. This is why people warranted and justifiably don't like politicians.
Yeah.
They don't get anybody to shoot them straight. So like I said, Damon, I think, that most shutdowns are short-lived. They're partial shutdowns. But you do want to be careful. One, you want to be on offense and win the battle of communication, which is always the rule number one in politics. This is about Democrats not getting taxpaying dollars to fund health care for illegal immigrants. That's why your government is partially shut down right now. And, with that, you do want to be careful that it doesn't drag on too long, because I think the American people would blame both parties at some point.
Yeah, I think so too, because people are fed up with government. That's why people don't like politicians, like you said. Mm-hmm. But and just the lies that they spew out there, and I just want people to know that it has nothing to do with the Republicans. Listen, not every Republican is perfect. Not every politician is great. It doesn't matter what side you're on.
Yeah, no,
it's the game that they play, and we elect them. Well, I didn't elect any Democrats, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
but but we elected them to serve their constituents, us, and that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah. They don't, and they play these games with our lives. And like I said, like you said, the shutdown isn't that big of a deal. They don't last that long. It's more of a scare tactic to get what they want, and that's what it is. And I'm fed up with it personally, and I just can't see. Excuse me. Like somebody like Donald Norcross, and even an AOC and all the other ones out there that are saying that, it's the Republicans, it's this and that. No, you're trying to give healthcare to illegals. It's right there. It's right in front of your face.
That's what it is. And they're so beholden to that far left open border crowd. It's really it's where they're it's the hill they want to die on, to use war terminology. It's the line they're drawing, and all right, so be it. We'll see what happens. I think on the long term, it's certainly not a good strategy for them. There are millions of Democrats have left that party. Millions. I'm not saying they jumped into the Republican Party. That's a whole other issue. But they've lost millions of voters nationwide. And there's
last I heard, it was somewhere around 2.5 million.
I believe, north of 2 million is what I've read.
Moved to Republican, and I just heard today. I have to be Jersey Shore about it. I can't. I have to verify it before. So I'm just saying what I heard. That 170,000 people in New Jersey. We just got 170,000 new registered Republicans in the state of New Jersey. That's what was on the news today. Somebody said something about. I didn't get a chance to look it up to verify it.
I hope, Damon, that that people can see what's happening to the state and to the country. And I think certainly they did last year in the presidential election. But, it has to manifest itself politically at the ballot box. Okay, you cannot. You have to win elections to make changes. You have to shift the balance of power to make changes, to make legislative changes. You need legislators elected. You need chief executives elected, state and federal level. So that all of this unhappiness that people have, and generally they're disgruntled and aggravated and frustrated, especially here in New Jersey. It has to manifest itself politically. They have to go out and vote and throw these people out and replace them with people that have a clearer and better vision for the state. We'll see if that happens this November. I mean, last year when I campaigned in the primary for U.S. Senate, I would tell people, look, it's good. It's very good news for Republicans and the country that Democrats are hemorrhaging voters. And they should be, because it's no longer the party of the World War II, FDR, Depression era Democrat. It's no longer the party of JFK's Democrats. But that doesn't mean that they will come vote Republican. This has to manifest itself electing Republicans with a new vision and a new direction for the state, and for the country. Now, federal level is okay. Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the White House. We'll see if we can pick that up here in New Jersey. But it is, they have options. If you're a disgruntled Democrat, you can still remain and vote Democrat. You can just do it with a low enthusiasm. You can sit home. You can vote for a third party. So you can also come and vote Republican, but that's one of many options they have. And if you look at the numbers, Damon, for the presidential race in New Jersey in 2024, there's a lot of good news. Okay. But a lot of the ground that we picked up as a party, okay, and we picked up a lot of ground. I think losing by 14 points in 2016, and then by losing by like 5 points, we picked up 9, which is a pretty big swing. But a lot of that is more attributed to Democrats not voting Democrat. Because if the number of votes that Democrats lost between the last 2 presidential elections, if they would have voted Republican, Donald Trump would have carried New Jersey last year in 2024. So, it's a 2-step process. Yes, people are sick of Democrats. They're hemorrhaging voters. And I've said it a billion times. I'll say it again when I run next year for the nomination for our Senate seat in 2026. We have to inspire people to vote for us. We have to inspire people with a vision to step into our column and support our candidates. And if we don't do that, we're not getting the full benefit of the number of disgruntled Democrat voters that are out there.
Yeah, most importantly, we have to get people out to vote. I mean, that's the thing. And you were the first person that told me a while ago that we only had about 20% of people that came out not last year's primary, I believe it was, and 20%. And then you look at Chitterelli's 2021 run. I think he only had somewhere around like 30% of registered Republicans that came out.
Damon, it's frustrating because, right now we have, the good news is we have the most registered Republicans in the history of the country in New Jersey, 1.6 million. It's over 1.6 million, which is fantastic. We still have some ground to pick up. We're still outnumbered by a lot, but that's the most registered Republicans in the history of the state. And if 2024, we both ran in the primary statewide, our turnout in the Republican primary was 20%.
Yeah.
And in 2024, that meant 1 million registered Republicans sat home and did not participate in the 2024 primary. So you go a year up. Our recent primary for governor this past June of 2025. We had a little bit of an increase in turnout, which is good, raw vote and percentage-wise, but we were still like in the 27 to 28% turnout. That's not even 30% turnout. It's miserable. Not only that, but because we got more registered Republicans, 1.2 million registered Republicans did not vote in the primary. So that number increased. And, I've said it, it's not just apathy, it's a dangerously high level of apathy when you have that many people sitting home. And you got to get them out.
Yeah, well, that's people, all Republicans out there, get off your butt and vote, or get the mail-in ballot and send it in. Because, if you think about it, look at Chris Christie, his reelect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not a fan of Chris Christie, not so much, but his reelect, he won by a landslide. Because 42% of registered Republicans came out to vote. 42%, and he won by a landslide.
He did.
So that's all. I mean, I'm asking all the listeners out there right now. And by the way, if you guys can ask some questions, go in the chat, and you can ask any questions that you want. So please feel free to do that, and like and subscribe on whatever platform you're watching on. Whether YouTube.
No, it's work to get people. It's work to get people to turn out.
Yeah. But I'm asking all the listeners out there, hey, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and just say, hey, listen, we have to vote. And if they don't feel like voting, say, why not? And then don't complain about your electric bill. Don't complain about your teaching in schools. Don't complain about this. Don't complain about your property taxes. All you have to do, it's not hard. Just to go, if you're already registered, it's not hard to go and cast a vote. It doesn't take that long. You can even have it come to your house and fill it out, and then you just put it back in the mail. No problem.
Yeah, if we got the ground game and you need volunteers, I mean, I think there's some energy on the Republican side this year. This is good to see. I also think Democrats will attach a sense of urgency to this race because they did so poorly last year. They don't want to lose a blue state. They want to stop Trump's momentum if they can, and certainly set the stage for momentum in next year's midterms to be more favorable to Democrats. So I think there's, who can out intensify the other is going to be important. But, we'll see. I mean, the people that are hemorrhaging from the Democrat Party, if they're willing to step into the Republican column, it'll be a good night for Republicans, I think, for sure.
All right. Well, so with that, let's take a quick break, and we'll go into the next Hammer segment.
The APN's The Pulse podcast is hosted by Alexandra Levine from the Alexandra Levine Life podcast. And Damon Galdo from the Jersey Shore podcast. And Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner podcast. Also, there will be 2 additional guests on every episode. The Pulse is live every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
All right, everybody, welcome back to next Hammer segment. This one is political violence, okay by Dems, which is a problem. So I just want to say, Justin, I've been seeing a lot of political violence lately, and there's an Axios poll that just came out that for the first time in 30 years, the political violence is on the left. It was always labeled as right-wing violence, which it may have been. I mean, if you want to call any kind of like KKK or violence or something like that. I mean, I don't consider them right. They're Democrats in my mind, but that's the way they label it. But the violence is up on the left. We see the Charlie Kirk shooting and all that stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on. So I want to let's roll with the first clip here.
Soon after Luigi Mangione was accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, the meme started, celebrating the cold-blooded murder, treating the alleged killer like a hero.
He's become a symbol for this really enormous and radical and maybe unprecedented change in American culture.
Anthropologist Max Horder works with the Network Contagion Research Institute, studying online threats.
We're no longer so ashamed of this violence, but actually there's a large percentage of people that actually applaud it.
In a survey of about 1,200 people conducted with Rutgers University, Horder found growing support for political violence among the younger, highly online, and ideologically left-aligned. According to their results, 56% of people who identify as left of center believe there could be some justification for killing President Donald Trump. Hauntingly, a few months before he was assassinated, Charlie Kirk posted about the survey results on X.
Yes, that's a huge problem with the younger people on the left. They think that it's okay to, and the major problem is it is the Democrats that are saying all this stuff, and they'll say we don't condone political violence at all, but then in the next sentence they'll say Trump is Hitler, he's a fascist, and all that. And it gives these deranged people or young minds like a permission structure, say, to commit violence. They think it's okay because if someone was calling me Hitler all the time, and you look at the history, and Hitler killed 6 million Jews in gas chambers and all in concentration camps, if anybody would want to come at me and say, "Oh, we got to get rid of this guy. I'm doing the world a favor, to kill this guy." That's why they tried the assassination on Trump. It's like probably Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I mean, and all the other violence. And there's going to be another clip with Kavanaugh too, but attempted killing of him. That'll be coming up, and it's a little different story where I'm going with it. But yeah, what do you think about all this political violence right now with the left? It's like you can't talk to them. If they don't agree, they have to shut you down. They have to threat violence or kill you.
Yeah. Damon, political violence in America right now is a problem on the left, plain and simple. I think the left is undertaking an effort to try to inject parity and say, 50% on the right, 50% on the left, let's condemn all of it. No, let's condemn all of it, okay, but let's also be honest and say the vast, vast majority of political violence in this country was perpetrated by the left, period, plain and simple, irrefutable. Okay, it's not coming from the right, it's coming from the left. There is a long list of left-wing political violence. I mean, you could probably take 2 hours to talk about it. Incidents we probably forgot about. The American people probably forgot about a left-wing lunatic, okay, was arrested for an attempted assassination on Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, okay, because he's pro-life. Okay, and how many people remember that? Because there's so much goes on in the news cycle, like we talked about earlier when we first came on. But political violence, okay, in America right now is a problem on the left. It is not a problem on the right or anywhere else. It is a problem of the left. They are inculcating in young minds to be violent, to be militant, to be intolerant, to be uncivil, okay, to be myopic. And it's really, I mean, when you talk about a healthcare CEO gunned down, shot in the back and murdered, okay, and then you got some young people say, well, yeah, I mean, I mean, he's a healthcare executive, and we have people without healthcare, so we think this is okay. I mean, the darkness that's been inculcated in these young minds, it's staggering and it's alarming and it's a sickness. I mean, liberalism is a cancer. Left-wing political ideologies throughout history have been nothing but a mental illness and a cancer on the societies that they have afflicted. Prove me wrong. In the words of Charlie Kirk, prove me wrong. You can't, because it's a historical fact. You talk about, the KKK, KKK was founded by the Democrat Party after the Civil War. The segregated Jim Crow South, Democrats down south. The people that fought against the civil rights bills in the civil Democrats, party of the slaveholder and the slave owner, Democrats. This is violence comes from the political left, and it's logical because in Karl Marx's manifesto, that's what he calls and preaches. You cannot change peacefully. They have no use for a ballot box or the First Amendment. They don't want to debate you. They don't want to exchange ideas with you. They don't want to learn from you. Okay, they are leftists. Right out of a page, right out of Karl Marx's manifesto, is that change can only come through violence. When you destroy an existing order, that is the only way you can then rebuild it as you envision. And some of these young people are buying into this garbage, unfortunately. And look at the takeover. Look, the pro-Palestine movement, Antifa, BLM. Okay, it's all Marxist, left-wing, funded, trained, planned, organized. Okay, Antifa is one of the most organized domestic terrorists we've seen on our country's soil, if not the most. Look what they're doing to Portland. And the problem is you're seeing such a breakdown of civil law and order, okay, because you have Democrat mayors, Democrat city councils, and Democrat governors who generally don't have a problem with these people. They don't have a problem with Antifa destroying a city, or BLM, or pro-Palestinian Free Palestine movement taking over college campuses, harassing and threatening Jewish students, burning federal courthouses, attacking ICE riots. They don't have a problem. That's why they don't stop it. They don't see anything wrong with it. They agree with the kids, and they agree with what they're doing. That's the sad, staggering part is, where the hell's your law and order? and they're just not stepping up to the plate for the safety of their states and communities.
Yeah, well, they don't have law and order anymore. They don't believe in it. They're more on the side of the criminal than they are on the victim, and they
No
call the
question.
criminals the victim. And everything is so upside down right now, the way they look at things. And my problem is they got a hold of the media, they got a hold of the colleges, and so they're indoctrinating children with these ideas. The media is spewing the same thing over and over again.
Sure.
I mean, even if they got a hold of Hollywood, and everyone watches movies, that's what they do, and it's just more like brainwashing, and that's what it is. But I think we're making the comeback a little bit. I see more people going to the church, more people having faith.
It's good to see that. It is, because look, Damon, this is a culture war that the left has been waging against this country since 1965, and ultimately it gets down to good versus evil. It's not really political left and political right. It's good versus evil. Do you promote the violence and intolerance? Okay, the murder and look at can you imagine if the incidents of left-wing violence, were perpetrated by right-wing people in the past couple of years? Can you imagine if somebody tried to assassinate Joe Biden twice, or if somebody shot, a left-wing activist?
There would be riots up and down the street like crazy.
They would impose martial law to rip up the Constitution.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is if you look at the Democrat Party, man, they have really they have just fallen. Their leaders don't even have the backbone to condemn this. They can't do it. They say, oh, well, let's condemn all violence. No, the problem is on the left. This is where this is coming from. It's coming from the left. Nancy Pelosi, people will do what they're going to do. Maxine Waters encourages the physical accosting of people. Kamala Harris, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. They shouldn't stop. And we're going to fight fire with fire. We're going to and then you get this constant drumbeat of, the word. What young people are told on the left, Damon, is the words of a conservative, the words that the traditional marriage is okay, the words of secure border. Their words are violence to you, so you have every right to go out and be violent to them. This is why these young people go pick up a gun and start shooting people.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly with the transgender shootings. The ones that are transgenders shooting up the schools and churches.
And they're targeting Christians.
Yeah, yes, they are
targeting Christians. I go to St. Mary's of the Lakes in Medford Township. Been my parish since the late 70s. We now have an armed officer in our churches.
They should. It's sad that has to happen, but it needs to happen in churches. It needs to happen in schools. And the reason why is because the left and even left-wing media, all that, they tell when you have like gender dysphoria or transgender, it's an illness. It's a mental illness. Listen to DSM-5. I think we may have talked about it before. I know I talked about it on the last podcast or so, but it is a mental illness. And when you're on the left and you're in a meeting, you say, oh, well, it's okay. Men can become women. Women can become men. And then you say that the people on the right, Republicans, they say, no, that can't happen. That's not the science. It really can't, which is true. It can't happen. But you tell them that they're trying. They basically tell them they're trying to erase you. You don't exist. They're taking away your soul.
They're filling their heads with every piece of lie and garbage for the purpose of making them militant.
Yeah, exactly.
That is what they're doing. I think you've got to start the way the Klan was hit with some civil lawsuits that bankrupted them. I think we need to start doing the same to the groups that are organizing and funding and driving and planning and promoting all of this. And we know who they are. Arabella, Open Society Foundation. So we know where this money is coming from.
Cooper River, Indivisible. It's another one. So that's another big one. They were just at the last Jack's thing. I don't know what happened. Yeah, you froze a little bit there. Oh, there you're back. So, but they've been protesting at Jack Chiarelli events.
Yeah, no doubt. And these are paid protesters for the most part. They're paid.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I talked about this before. When I went to my producer and I, other Damon, we went to the Tesla protest in Cherry Hill. Yeah, and I happened to be walking up. I saw there was a couple of buses that pulled up because they're paid, and So I found a parking spot. I went up to meet my producer.
Yeah, who pays for these buses?
Yeah, well, I just kind of mingled with the crowd as they were all walking up, getting off the bus, and they started handing me vouchers and flyers, telling me what to say. And like, what? And then the guy asked me, they all had high vis vest on, like construction vest, the ones that were running it. And then the guy said, "Well, what group are you with?" I said, "Not with any group." He said, "Oh, I need that back then. You can't have that." I'm like, "No way, I'm not giving it back to you." Not at all. I think I say you got a better chance of seeing God when me giving this back. So,
Damon, it's so. I mean, this is global. This is a global issue because I recall, a couple of years ago when you had that massive wave after wave after wave from the third world into Europe. They were just coming by the millions. It was, and I was, I keep apprised as best I can. And I saw this one story, and I'll never forget it. It was a picture of migrants approaching the coast of Greece, one of the islands in Greece, as they were making their way out of the Middle East and Northern Africa, one of the countries from North Africa, and they're coming into Europe. And these migrants, these illegal immigrants, what they were, the migrants, they're in this huge freighter boat, huge, not a rickety raft that they put together. It was this huge ship. It was like a freighter. And I'm thinking, whose ship is that? How did these illegal immigrants get the ship? Did they steal it? Did they rent it? Did they lease it? Did they buy it? I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is really planned and coordinated. Whose ship is that? I mean, you just don't pop up on a freighter and load it up with illegal immigrants and drive it, sail it across the Mediterranean and drop them off in Italy or something.
Yeah.
So this is how deep rooted this Marxist globalist mess really is, and man, it's going to take a while to beat this thing down.
Yeah, it is. It takes the right people to get elected. That's why everyone has to get out and vote.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely right. And November, we'll see how we do. We got assembly seats. We got the governor's race. And hopefully it's good enough for Republicans that will have momentum going into next year's midterms.
Yeah, well, we have a couple more clips to play in this segment. So let's roll the next one real quick.
President Trump is joining calls for Virginia's Democratic Attorney General candidate, Jay Jones, to drop out of his race after text messages resurface of him justifying a political assassination of the state's former GOP House Speaker, Todd Gilbert. We want to warn you, the messages are violent. Here you go. Jones writing in 2022 a quote, 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Joining us now is the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. Governor, he's a Democrat, I get it, but when you saw this, you thought what?
I thought this was a joke because no one could write this. I mean, this is demented. And here we have the Democrat candidate running for attorney general, the top cop in Virginia, wishing not only that he had 2 bullets to put in a guy's head, but then he wishes death on his children. And Todd Gilbert has small kids. And for Jay Jones to wish death on his small children is beyond belief. But that is where the violent left of the Democrat Party is. This is where these folks are.
Yeah. So you see that another instance. I mean, this guy's running for attorney general.
Exactly. It's not like it's the far left fringe lunatic in some street corner.
Yeah.
This is the candidate for the attorney general of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I mean,
these are text messages that he sent.
This is
undeniable. It's irrefutable. I mean, so
a couple years ago. And he apologizes and says, "Oh, I'm really sorry." I don't look. That doesn't do much for me. You flipped your cards. We know what you think. We know who you are. We know how dark your heart is. I hope the people of Virginia don't reward him with win. The problem is until you punish these people politically, they don't see or feel a consequence to their actions. I mean, can you imagine if a Republican candidate posted something like that? He would be out of the race inside of a millisecond.
Yeah, exactly.
But yet here's this guy receiving support from Dems. Oh, all of a sudden they're quoting the Bible now. Well, let he who hasn't cast sin throw the first stone. Wait a minute. It's not about sinning and who's a sinner and who's not. We all are. Okay. But, you don't wish to put 2 bullets in the head of somebody because they're your political opponent. The left seems to think this is okay. to do that. To shoot Charlie Kirk is okay. Okay, to try to assassinate Donald Trump is okay. To shoot out and murder healthcare CEOs is okay. And this is where it's really staggering and scary. I mean, the Democrat, and to see the leaders of the Democrat Party so incapable of condemning this. They can't even condemn it. They're going to get in trouble with their base.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you look at the headlines about this too, they're so softly written, basically protecting this guy, saying, "Oh, well,
yeah, of course."
Not saying what he said was he was talking about murdering his opponent. He was talking about murdering his kids.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
Damon, do you remember back during, I guess it was a couple years back when Donald Trump was president, Peter Fonda, when he was alive, he's deceased now, but Peter Fonda, the actor, publicly stated that he hopes that Barron Trump, Donald Trump's son, was raped. I mean, why would you say that you wish that on a child?
That's a sick individual. I mean, just because you disagree politically and you would hope harm on someone and wish they were raped and put them through that.
Atrocious. It's just unspeakable. And look at the violence on the left.
Because it's okay. It's okay for them, and because they have control of the media and everything else. If that, like you said, that was a Republican that said something like that, he'd be out of the race in a second. It would be the news. It would be headline news on every single channel for months.
What you would see too, Damon, is not only not only of somebody like out of the race, but you would see the Republican Party as a whole condemn it and throw them out of the race, if not out of the party.
Yes.
Democrats don't do that. They make excuses for it. Oh, well, it's okay. He said he's sorry. Let's just forget about it. We certainly don't condone it, and yada, yada, let's move on. I remember back when David Duke ran for president in 1988. He was a grand wizard of the KKK from Louisiana, and I think he was a state senator for a while down there. He ran for president as either as a Republican, or he was trying to run in the Republican primary. The Republican Party, without delay and without hesitation, threw him out of the party. Okay, they said, you're excommunicated. We're throwing you out. You're not getting any resources. You're not going to have an R next to your name. We have nothing to do with it. I want to see when the Dems are going to do that to some of these people, and they don't. There's such a disparity and unequal. It's so uneven in the treatment. As when will Democrats police their own ranks? They can't, because that's their party right now. That's their base, and those are the people that the base is electing. With that mindset, those mindsets of violence, really horrible, scary.
Because it's not the parties are so split right now to where, like you said, between good and evil. Actually, it's not about Republicans think this is the better road that we take, and Democrats, this is the better road that we take. It's so split that they don't care. They don't care about somebody getting killed. Okay, he got killed. Great, he's out of the way. Donald Trump got shot in the ear. Oh man, damn it, they missed.
You know what, Damon? I mean, if you look at the Butler attempt on President Trump, obviously that was an intended headshot.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay. If you look at Charlie Kirk's assassination, he got hit in the neck. That you don't shoot for the neck. That was an intended headshot.
I think he didn't anticipate the bullet dropping.
And from the distance, that's probably right.
Yeah.
They're intended headshots. Okay, and that's significant because they're trying to send a message to anyone on the right. We want you silenced, demoralized, on the sideline, and defeated. Not going to happen, but that's what the left wants. They wanted the visual effect of a head exploding. As sick as that is, they wanted that JFK boom. They wanted the brains to splatter. They wanted the violence to be so graphic, that you would scare and send a message to other people. For the next Charlie Kirk, well, you know what? I'm not going to go through that, so I'm not going to take up Turning Point USA. I'm not going to start my own chapter. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to run for office. But those were intended headshots because they wanted the graphic and violent, real-time brain and headshot and head exploding so that people could see that. That's what they're trying to do. Nobody shoots for the neck. You're shooting for the head.
Yeah.
Trump turned at the right moment, thankfully, and grazed his ear, or it would have slammed right in the side of his head. That's significant because that's the type of violence they're trying to inject in our political system, and that's the type of violence they want to present to the American people. The graphic, unbelievable, as graphic and horrible that would be. But those were intended headshots, and they're significant.
Well, then that is where they screwed up though, because look how many chapters opened up in Turning Point USA.
Yeah, that's right.
Look what happened. Trump got shot at, and he got elected. Okay?
And we don't riot. We didn't riot. We didn't loot. We didn't burn. We didn't attack. We didn't attack people. We didn't call.
No, we had candlelit visuals and prayer and all that stuff. And yeah, we prayed. And Turning Point USA. We have the Gloucester County chapter, Camden County chapter, South Jersey chapter,
Burlington. It's all over the place.
I ordered like 7, Charlie Kirk shirts, Freedom, or whatever they say, and I wear them. And I mean, everyone is talking about. There's still scumbags out there that still say, "I'm glad he got shot." But so, okay, get away from me. But you just riled up the base that are normal people, God loving, God fearing people that are coming together now and trying to take our country back because of this. So it's unfortunate, obviously, that Charlie Kirk was killed, but it's like Japan and Pearl Harbor, when they said I think we just woke up a sleeping giant.
No question. I mean, the assassination attempt on President Trump and Butler had a clear benefit for Republicans politically. It hurt Democrats, and I think this Charlie Kirk assassination it says doing the same thing. But I think about those 2 incidents, and I'm like, man, they were intended headshots, and to serve up that type of graphic to the American people, that's what they want. That's how violent, heartless, dark, and demonic these people are. That's what they're trying. They're not just trying to kill you. They want to do it in a certain way to scare other people. And those were 2 intended headshots. I'm almost sure, but nobody shoots for a neck.
Yeah. No, I think it was a 30-06, and I actually own one too. From the distance, when the bullet drops, it does slow down. So I personally think that's what it was. But either way, he killed him. So I hope he rots in jail and gets the death penalty.
You talk about the death penalty. I mean, we were, as a country, Damon, we were subjected to 3 horrific shock the conscience events, and you got to have to worry if we could become desensitized to it. First was the targeting of children, Christian children praying in church, and this idiot transgender jackass sticks a gun through a window and shoots up a church attempting to kill children praying in church. I mean, that's you would think that would be the bottom. Okay, then that poor girl in Charlotte sitting there not doing anything is stabbed 3 times in her neck and bleeds to death simply because she sat there. But the lunatic down in Charlotte, and then you had the murder of Charlie Kirk, and it's like, at what point? I mean, it's all maybe the Charlotte wasn't politically motivated. It was a mentally ill idiot, maybe race, we don't know. But this is political violence, and it's also a result of the left refusing to enforce criminal law.
Yeah, and we're getting low on time, so I got 2 more clips to play in this this segment here, and then we got to get another one, and then the loser and the patient of the week. So let's just roll the next clip real quick, and let's just show.
We want to get to the headlines right now as we begin this half an hour. The woman who plotted to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was sentenced to 8 years in prison on Friday. Sophie Roski was arrested near Kavanaugh's Washington home in June of 2022. That's after her attorney says she changed her mind in a taxi while on the way and called 911 to turn herself in. Roski spoke in court Friday, apologizing to Kavanaugh and saying she regretted her actions. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, now blasting the sentence, saying it's not long enough and promising an appeal.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC.
Damon, that was
a man.
Transgender.
A man. Yes, that's the thing. Wasn't transgender at the time, but NBC or wherever it was, they said she apologized. A woman, her, all that. Her, she, a woman. It's a dude. It was a guy at the time. So now he tries to kill Kavanaugh and he gets arrested for it, whatever, and they always get sentenced to 8 years. And the reason why the judge said that they were sympathetic with the trans issue, said that he was transitioning and he had problems and issues. And it was a guy. And even if the judge was sympathetic to it, said, okay, they have mental health issues, and they were sympathetic to the mental health.
Yeah.
And what maybe gave him a lesser sentence and then put him in a psychiatric ward after the fact, whatever. But the news out there saying her, she, a woman. No, it was a guy. I mean, like that's the problem. That's what twists people's minds. It was a guy that did it, and he wasn't even out as trans until he got arrested, and then his lawyer says, "Oh well, he's actually a trans woman, and he can't be in a man's prison." So they lightened his sentence over, and the judge even said that.
Yeah.
It's
this is again. We have liberal-leaning judges. We have liberal prosecutors. They refuse to enforce the law. They refuse to protect people. They're taking the side of the criminals, and the rest of us are at risk because of it. That's another thing that should really hurt Democrats politically, because look at the cities. They just refuse to take the side of the victim.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really, it's just, I was, that incident in Charlotte, there was another horrible crime down in the North Carolina, Charlotte area, where a career criminal should not have been out on the streets, broke into somebody's home and murdered a young girl. I think he put a bullet in their head, and the father testified before the house, and just was, it was so emotional. And
I played that clip on the last podcast.
Yeah, it's just awful to see. And you get these, like the mayor of Chicago. Well, we can't arrest our way out of this problem. Yeah, you can. Get these people off the street. That's the first job of the government, is to protect its people. Get these criminals off the street, period. And they won't be committing crimes. If they're mentally ill, they need to be in an institution. If they're a career criminal, they need to be in a jail cell. About a century ago, longer, France, Damon, France used to have an island in the South Pacific for a penal colony. And they used to ship the worst of the worst criminals they had to that island. Get out. Goodbye. Never see you again. Don't come back. Thank you. We ought to do that. Okay, if we don't believe in the death penalty, then fine. Get these people round up, send them off to an island somewhere in some penal colony. Let them live their life out down there.
I like it.
Out of our country. I mean, the crime. What's funny about crime too in America? It's a very small, very, very small number of people that commit crimes in this country that are career criminals. It's a very small number. Most police in big cities will tell you they know who the criminals are. They know them.
Yeah.
There's the repeat. It's the same damn people. It's the same ones. So if you crack down on the career criminals, your crime rate would plummet. It would plummet. But you've got to have the political will and leadership. Stop electing people like Krasner in Philadelphia. Stop electing liberal mayors, liberal city councils, liberal governors. I've always said urban America needs to undergo a political renaissance where they just really kind of throw off the shackles of the Democrat machines that have run American cities uninterrupted and unopposed, for probably a century now.
Let's see, Peter Sykes said, yes, the island. I guess he's on board with that. The island is a great idea.
I just get them just get out, get them on a freighter, fly them, sell them. I don't care. France used to do that. That was that movie with Dustin Hoffman called Papillon with Steve McQueen. That's what it was about. The colony that they had for their incorrigible. Yeah, I'm not saying if you.
Yeah, there was one with Ray Liotta too, I believe.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, that's we need solutions like that, because we don't have. I mean, it's amazing. The crime is bad enough, but then if you look at the breakdown of the civilian leadership, where are they? They're on the side of the criminal.
Yeah, I know. And think about this too with the island. You don't have to have guards. You don't have to pay for their electricity or pay for. I mean, I don't even know what it costs now. I think it's roughly around $40,000 a year to house an inmate. By feeding them, paying for the guards, paying for whatever the whole facility. Each inmate $40,000 a year cost.
Yeah,
the island's a great idea. Here you go. Here's an island.
Not cheap.
They just figure out how to survive. Here's your survival kit tool. This is how you hunt. There you go.
The problem. I mean, I think it was a work colony for France. They just went out there and rake mud all day or something. But the idea was get them out of the country, get them out of the penal system. They were incorrigible, they were too violent, and out they go. Now what we do, we turn them back into the streets, and they're career criminals. They're murdering innocent people. It's a sick, sad mess.
And this is, I'm going to go to this next clip because we got to move on. This is a very, very sad story for all the listeners out there that are watching or listening. I just want to play because it proves a point. So let's roll this next clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be coming up second. It was about a 6-year-old boy that was murdered in his house in front of his father and sisters.
This is the guy in Kentucky?
Yeah, he just got out. He only served 8 years. So
because he's mentally ill.
Yes.
Okay, we know he's mentally ill because he murdered a toddler. So lock him up or put him somewhere. And it doesn't mean that you get a pass to murder someone because you're mentally ill. You need to be institutionalized or in a jail cell. One or two.
Oh, I see. We lost that clip, but basically what it was is it was the father talking about it. He said he lost everything in life. He was sitting over his daughter's interview, and he said that he laid in bed. He said, "I gave up on my family, I gave up on everything," because basically he woke up in the middle of the night. This guy broke into his house, and sorry everybody, he started stabbing this 6-year-old boy in the head over and over again, and he held his son while he was done. He ran upstairs, and the guy threw him to the side, and he was going after his daughters too, and he protected them, and then guy got arrested, but the guy, he did it for no reason. He just broke in to the house and just started stabbing a 6-year-old boy.
Random violence.
And 8 years, and now he's getting out. And the father said in court, he said, if I see him, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him. I don't. For something like that, I don't know how I didn't. Me personally, that happened to my 7-year-old son. There's nothing that would stop me from killing that guy and erasing him from the face of the earth. I'm sorry. God, I'll deal with God later. And
I think that's what this man said. He says, I talk to my God, and I'll kill this man where he stands if I ever cross paths with him.
Yeah.
And it's, it just, you just have to wonder, like, the mental illness, they can't be on the streets. Okay. They cannot be on the streets to inflict this violence on innocent people. It happens time and time again. How many illegal immigrants have come to this country with criminal backgrounds, violent backgrounds, and they rape and murder?
Yeah.
Time and time again. It seems to be endless. Now I think we're in better shape now with a secure border under President Trump, but we're really fighting these Democrat cities with crime and law enforcement now, because they're actually trying to stop ICE from enforcing the law.
Yeah.
Federal law. I mean, it's insanity. It's really insanity.
It is. It really is. But we're going pretty much over. So I want to talk about this event coming up. We'll pop that up there, and then we'll go into the next segment. So this right here is at Skeeters in Blackwood. It's on election night. It's an election party, and there'll be a live band. There'll be food. There's tickets for sale there. The flyer, you can find it on Facebook. I posted it, and you'll see more coming out too. I don't know if you guys get to that QR scanner on there or not, but if you go on my Facebook page at Damon Galdo NJ, then you'll see it. I posted. I'll repost it again as well. But here it is, and you guys can buy tickets if you want to go to the election party on election night. We are hosting, the Jersey Shore. Podcast will be there live streaming the whole time, and we have a great thing. It looks like, we definitely know that Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner is going to be driving up from Maryland, and Alexandra Levine, the other podcast under the America's Pulse Network, will most likely be coming out from Florida or Maryland, wherever she's at the time. But either way, so it'd be nice that we'll all be there. We'll be interviewing people the entire time, and we'll have candidates there for assembly. I think Peter Sykes and Jack Ranger will be there. I think Constance Ditzel and Wilson Gonzalez are going to be there. There may be more too. I know Keith Gibbons running for mayor in Gloucester Township will be there as well. So, but it's good. It should be a great time. So we'll advertise that now, but let's take a break in the next segment.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the next Hammer segment, number 3. So this one is actually this segment. It's about New Jersey. So I labeled it Jersey Desk, Inspira's newborn SOGI form. How do we get here? And that's the sexual orientation and gender identity questionnaire. So if we can pull that up real quick, I want to show that.
Yeah, this is disturbing to say the least.
It's insane. I mean, if
demonic. I mean, where does this come from?
Anybody can see it. It basically says patient. This is from Inspira Hospital, and who was actually merged with Cooper Hospital, or Norcross thing. I'll bring him into it again. But at Inspira Health, our mission is to provide a safe and compassionate experience that improves the health and well-being of our community. Blah blah blah. blah. I'll read the rest of it. But it says the patient name newborn said. It says, what sex was your baby assigned at birth? Well, it either has a penis or a vagina. We have to go back to, what was that, kindergarten cop?
Only one or two.
Yeah.
A or B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It just shows the pervasiveness.
I know it's insane, Justin. It is. And then it says, when it says, do you identify your baby as ? Female, male, transgender female?
But they think a hospital system is circulating this.
Yes, exactly. But it says, do you identify your baby as transgender female, trans woman, male to female, transgender male, trans man, female to male, gender queer, neither exclusively male nor female, additional gender category, self-described, please specify. Like the child's going to self-describe. Anyway, it's a baby. I mean, what the frig? Like, how did any parent that would like label their, and then says, which one of the following describes your baby? Lesbian or gay, straight or heterosexual, bisexual, zero or self-describes. Like, what's the baby self-describing? I mean, and what parent can, if you're a parent and you have a boy, or you have a girl, and you say, oh, well, she's a lesbian or he's gay. You need to take that baby needs to come out of that household immediately. Like, who would say that? Oh, it's okay if your son or daughter, as they're adults are gay. I'm okay with that. I mean, they're adults, they can make their own decision. But if you're a parent and you write down, oh, my son is gay, my daughter is a lesbian, my son is a girl, actually, and he's trans.
It's the issue is the children. Yeah, it's the children.
Yeah. I mean, it's children. Like, well, what kind of parent would say that? Like,
Damon, unfortunately, you'd be surprised. There's a few out there. I mean, there are. There's
got to be more than a few with that. Why would the hospital even have that form?
This is how pervasive this madness is, and it's how real it is. Like, think about it. I mean, this is a major healthcare institution in America, and they actually circulate something like this to parents. Yeah. Madness. It escapes the mind.
I really can't get over it. It bothered me so much when I saw this yesterday.
Yeah, look at we're doing to public education. The curriculum in public education's been contaminated with it. It's going to take a long time, folks. Clean this up. It's a culture war. It's the culture war. It's real. It's open. The mask is off on the left, and it's a culture war that we need to win. Parental rights. I've said it a million times, Damon. The civil rights issues of our time are parental rights.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then everyone listening out there, I mean, seriously, think about this. tell people about this. Spread the word about it, because this is absolute insanity. That even if you should not be a parent if you fill out that your child is transgender, and it's
how the hell would you know?
yeah, and
At that age.
my kids get that means it's like I don't know, and I'm lost for words for it. I really am, because
Well,
I
this
can't
is another
explain it.
Yeah, Damon, this is another page out of the Marx playbook. Not just violence overall, but destroy the traditional family unit, destroy the relationship parents have with children. If you have a strong family unit, that's a cultural transmitter of values, and the left knows that, and the left hates that, and so the left attacks that. And this is an attempt to destroy the parent-child relationship. This is why, like with 5756, the policy in New Jersey, why do they want that? Because they want the parents to not be parents. They want to control the children's lives and upbringing, not the parents. They want the parents out of the picture. They want the parents to be criminally charged if they object to gender-affirming care for their 9-year-old. I mean, this is just madness to a height and degree I've never seen in my lifetime before. This is absolute insanity. But it's here, it's real, we have to fight it.
Well, just let everyone know out there, anybody on the left that's watching, I'll be damned if you're going to do this to my children.
There are some, Damon, there are some parents out there that support this. I can't comprehend it. I can't even get my mind around it, but there are. Thank God I don't think there's that many, but there are some. There are some.
Well, there you go.
Gender affirming care. How about no? Let the kids have their childhood. Stop indoctrinating them. And if they're an adult and they have a dysphoria issue, let's hope they can get the health care services they need when they're an adult. You don't mutilate children like this. My God, I mean, this is horrendous.
Yeah, I know. And we're, like I said, we're getting late on time. So I'm going to rifle through this. But I see Pete Sykes just said no one can believe it's real. When I show it to him, he said, and his opponent, Louis Greenwald, voted in favor of it. There it goes on the screen right there.
Blue Greenwald.
He calls him Blue Super Blue Greenwald because he's been glued to the system for so long. He's been in for 30 years, so he calls him Super Blue.
That's what he is. It's paid him very well. He's done very well.
But he voted in favor of it. I mean, come on. We got to get rid of these Democrat ideologies, left out ideologies. But we have one more thing to pull out. And I want to bring this up. This is like for voter integrity, too. This is right here. I talked about this on Friday, and I labeled it as a big win. And I thanked Adam Wingate, our Gloucester County chair. It says South Jersey Democrats caught cheating illegally, redesigning ballots, and says New Jersey Superior Court found Gloucester County Clerk James Hogan had broken the law. So I thought it was a big win at the time. It just happened that Friday when they did the podcast. But it turns out it wasn't really a big win. They did win, but the judge ruled in Republicans' favor and said, yes, he broke the law, but they're not changing the ballots. So they just have to basically repay the $26,000 plus.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah, that they paid saying vote this column, because it's supposed to be one column with Jack Ciattarelli and all the down ballot candidates for assembly and commissioner and so forth. It was supposed to be one column, but they broke it up into office ballots illegally. The Democrat clerk did, and the judge just ruled that it was illegal. So he's making them pay back the $26,000 they spent on, on advertising, campaigning, saying, hey, vote this column. But that's a drop in the bucket for Democrats. So they just spent $26,000 to cheat. So that's easy for them to do. So what do they care? They have tons of money coming in. They'll throw $26,000 in there to cheat. So all the mail-in ballots that we're sending in already, not getting changed. Not even the ballot when you go in to vote on the machine is getting changed. They're keeping it the same way. So the Democrats just spent $26,000 to cheat, and the damage is done already.
Well, it's not the only county. I mean, there's some issues in Mercer. There's some issues in Camden that you're aware of. And last year for the election, I mean, Mercer and Burlington County both had some pretty serious election day matters. So we just don't have this down right yet, and it's really unacceptable. I mean, we're the world's foremost technologically advanced society, culture, and economy and political system, and we have so much trouble ensuring that our elections are run fairly with integrity, and it really doesn't sit well with me because there's no reason for this. There's absolutely no reason for this, but yet it happens a lot. I don't believe our voter rolls are as clean as they could be and should be, and that's federal law. That's not something I'm making up. There's a federal law signed by Bill Clinton and the Democrats back in the early '90s. Each state has to make an effort to make sure their voter rolls are clean. Some states are doing a very good job. Some states are not. So, election integrity starts with voter rolls, but you've got so many other issues too, and it's annoying to hear so many of these stories because it just should not happen. We should be able to pull this off.
Yeah, and it's like in 24 with the whole county line, when Andy Kim filed a lawsuit to get rid of the county line in New Jersey, and he won. And I was going to get involved with it. My team told me, don't worry about it. Andy Kim has plenty of money. It'll be fine. Let him win. And then the judge ruled it unconstitutional, the county line. We're the only state in the country that had it. So they got rid of it. And the judge turned around and said, oh, no, only for Democrats, not Republicans.
Because he brought the suit, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, if it's unconstitutional, why? Then it should be for everybody. So that's another thing. It's unbelievable, these Democrat judges. I know that guy's a Democrat judge who ruled that. That's it. But then you're looking at in Camden County, and get Pete Sykes here talking about this stuff with Lou Greenwald. Now, Lou Greenwald, he was in assembly with Pam Lambert for 18 years.
Long time, couple of decades.
Yeah. They were running mates, they were friends, they were co-workers, passed legislation together, and then she resigned from assembly because the county clerk in Camden was retiring. So she resigned from assembly to take the county clerk job. I don't know why she would do that, but now
pays better.
It does pay, but yeah, it does. You're right.
That means you get a bigger pension.
Well, no, but doesn't now because assembly's about to get doubled.
Well, they do such a good job for us; they deserve it. Please.
But yeah, so now she's going to oversee the election. So what happened in Mercer, what happened in Gloucester, and now Camden. They're just, it's not. I'm not accusing her of doing anything wrong at all. Not that she didn't do anything wrong. She did not. It's just the perception of it, and that's in the law. Actually, it says if the law states that if you have the perceptions of any what's the word I'm looking for, and any I can't look for
any appearance of impropriety.
Appearance of impropriety, any appearance of impropriety. It says any appearance of impropriety, and it does.
Or something.
It does have an appearance. So
sure.
I think she should recuse herself from it. Just for this election. And no one's blaming her, saying that she did something wrong. She didn't. But when people look at it, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, and they're like, "Yeah, man, that would make me wonder if Lou wins. Why would she move from here to here? And we have this in Gloucester, and we have something in Mercer too. I mean, we don't want a 2020 election thing. I would say I damn well know Biden cheated. The Democrats cheated with those mail-in ballots. But we don't want anything like that. We don't want any uproar. We don't want anything like that. We don't want anyone to think that it was. We want people to trust the government again. And that's what we want. And trust the election process. So
that's important because everybody has to agree that the process was fair enough. They may not like the outcome of who won, but we do all have to agree the process was fair enough. Everyone got a chance to vote. Nobody was suppressed. The votes were counted fairly. The machines were working properly. The number of things with elections that's going on right now. You got to work through it to get things fixed. It's not easy. It's time consuming. You have to be a little tenacious and be willing to, put up with some disappointments. But it's part of the mix. But we need to conduct our elections a lot better than we are. And I just do not accept that it's that difficult of a prospect to do that because it's not. We're the foremost advanced economy in the world, technologically advanced. We're the world's foremost constitutional democratic republic. This should not be a problem.
We're too advanced to where it makes it easier to cheat too, I would say.
That's maybe. No doubt.
I remember a quick story before we go to the last segment, which is going to be fast anyway. I think it was in Mexico. Back in the day, I read a story about it that they were cheating with the elections. So there were way too many voters they put one person at every polling station, and they don't know who they were voting for. They just counted each person that walked in because there was no mail-in ballots at this time. So everyone that walked in and counted each one of them at every polling station, and it was overwhelmingly more votes than people that actually showed up at the polling station. So maybe we have to go back to more primitive ways of voting. I don't know.
That happens too in our country once in a while. Like Detroit, I think in 2020 had some districts. Most of the districts and voting precincts in Detroit in 2020 had more votes counted than registered voters.
Yeah.
The Judicial Watch forced a lawsuit on Los Angeles County a few years ago, and they found 1.5 million more registered voters than voting age adults in just Los Angeles County. I think if you clean that up, California is a toss-up state, in my opinion. If you clean those 1.5 million off the rolls in just Los Angeles County, I think California's a little more in play, in my opinion.
Yeah, most likely.
I mean, that's how do you get? Look, if you got a few here or there, that's one thing. But that many, it's calculated. Somebody's doing something.
It's a little too much.
Yeah,
it's like Biden got 80-some million, most votes than any president in history. Come on.
Don't think so.
So, but all right, let's take a quick break and we'll go to this last quick segment with the Patriot and Loser Award.
Right.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This last quick segment we're going to run through. And Justin, I want to just tell you, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. As always, you are awesome.
Great. No, I thank you for having us, and it's a great show. I'm always honored to be here, Damon.
So let's all go to our Patriot of the Week award. That is Adam Wingate, Gloucester County Chair. And I'm giving him the Patriot of the Week award because he fought hard in that lawsuit. We won, but we didn't win in the way that we wanted to win.
Right.
And plus, he spent a lot of money on the mail-in ballot initiative in Gloucester County for the first time since they had mail-in ballots like this, surpassed Democrats for the Republicans surpassed Democrats for mail-in.
Good sign.
Yeah, so he was pushing that initiative. He said, you can't beat them, join them. I know Trump's going to try to get rid of them in 26, which I hope he does. But he pushed that mail-in ballot initiative and fought for this lawsuit. So, Adam, you get the Patriot of the Week award. Loser of the Week award goes to none other than, let's roll it.
Losers! 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 Ah, shut up!
I still love that from South Park, the losers thing. But yeah, Donald Norcross gets the Loser of the Week award as he lies to the people all the time and putting a video out every single day saying it's the Republicans with the government shutdown. No, it's the Democrats. Fredo. I call him Fredo all the time. I think he likes that a lot. But seriously, so he's the Loser of the Week. And then, Justin, I just want to go. I'm going to roll into let's bring back up the flyer again, real quick, for the election party at Skeeters.
Yeah, election night. Hopefully it's a good night for us.
Yeah, I was going to do Seth's thing first. I forgot. I probably did that backwards. But so there you go. It's Skeeters election night. It's going to have food, live band, and we'll be streaming live Jersey Shore podcast under the America's Pulse Network, interviewing people as they're there, as the whole party's going on. And we're going to live stream the entire thing on every social media platform out there. And Seth is definitely coming. I'm pretty sure Alexandra is coming too. So it'll be great to have the Pulse team there. And this will be a great time. So, guys, just look it up on my Facebook page, Damon Galdo and Jay, and Damon M. Galdo and Jay, I'm sorry. And you'll be able to see it. I'll push it out there again as well. And then I'm going to roll into Seth's GoFundMe. Seth with his rotten foot. Poor Seth. I feel bad for him. I always mess with him all the time. So, Seth, I don't know how you're going to drive up here. Like, you drive with like just 1 foot. Well, everyone drives with 1 foot, but I don't know which foot it is. But
gosh,
he's doing better. No, he's been in the hospital a lot with his foot. I mean, he almost lost his foot. He had a lot of surgeries. It was horrible. The hospital bills are piling up, and there's his GoFundMe right there. So if you guys have anything, $5, $10 donate to help him out, we would greatly appreciate it, so he can hobble his ass up here to New Jersey from Maryland. So
yeah, you need him up here on election night.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Justin, thank you again, man. It was a great show. Always great talking to you.
Damon, it's always a good show, and thank you for having me. It's always worthwhile to be here. I can't thank you enough.
All right, and look forward to 2026 election. So
let's hope so. God willing.
So, all right, everybody, signing off.
Take care. Good night. God bless.
Yeah.